background would be that I got sick on March 12th.
Wow, early.
I spent a week at home waiting to find out what the results were, and ended up getting. I woke up on March 18th, and I had to. I couldn't breathe. So I told my wife to call 911 because I knew I was in respiratory distress, and went right to the hospital. That's when I spent 21 days in the hospital. 17 of those were in ICU on 100% oxygen, and I pretty much spent the night looking at the monitor, watching the monitor, the saturation monitor, trying to keep it around, 85 to 90%, because I didn't want to go on a respirator, and I knew at a certain point, if I couldn't keep that up, that they would put me on a respirator. At a certain point, there was one night in particular where I thought I was either going to pass out and they were going to put me on a respirator, or I was actually thinking of telling them to put me on a respirator. That's how bad it was. And I know it's going to sound crazy, but that was the night that God helped me, and I got through it. Fast forward a couple of days.
That doesn't sound crazy. That sounds amazing.
Thank you. Well, it depends. Some people get a little weirded out about faith and things like that.
Yeah.
But when your mother's the secretary to God, and you're brought up in a Roman Catholic house, you tend to believe.
Yes, I got it.
So fast forward a couple of days, I was using my phone because that was the only way to obviously communicate with my family, FaceTime and all that, and I happened to be on Instagram, and I saw my cousin on there, and I said, she went live. My cousin Rosanna, who years ago was a producer for, I don't know, a bunch of different things, and she was excited to see me, so she did this dual screen thing, and next thing you know, we talked for about a half hour, and she ended up putting that on YouTube. And supposedly it went on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram or something like that, and it went around the country from what I understand. Pretty much, and then like I said, 21 days in the hospital, and finally got home, and now I've been recuperating at home, and hopefully I'll be going back to work on June 4th.
Jim, I mean, obviously being a police officer and being trained in so much of what you were experiencing in the hospital, when you were looking at those monitors and when you were staring at those numbers, you knew what it meant. So what were you thinking in your mind?
Well, it's funny. You ever hear the old saying, well, at least you have your health? There was a unique point in time where I realized that I did not have my health. That is a very scary position that I've never felt before. I will tell you that after 30 years in law enforcement, I've spent a lot of time in the street, rolling around with people and doing things, and this was ultimately the fight for my life. Because I felt if I did not keep those numbers up, that they were going to intubate me and I would actually get worse. But I will tell you that I went to Good Samaritan Hospital, and like every person in that hospital, from the doctors all the way down to the person who comes in and cleans the room, was super positive. They were just absolutely amazing and made you feel not only special, but important every single day. They were absolutely amazing.
That's amazing. That's where you were. That's where you were for those 21 days. Good Sam.
Yeah, I was at Good Sam, and 17 of those I was in ICU. The one picture I sent you had me holding the dry erase board that they gave me because I was in a fishbowl, room. And they would have to don on protective equipment to come in and do whatever they had to do. So if I needed just something simple as, a glass of orange juice or something like that, they would don and on, come in, I'd tell them what I need, and then they would have to, don off everything. So they gave me the dry erase boards. This way, when I pressed the button, they could, I would write down what I needed. And at one point in time, I just felt so amazed by these people that I just had to give them some sort of words of encouragement. So, I wrote little messages like, good Sam, I see you. Thank you for having my back. That one that I sent you was on Palm Sunday. I said thank you for carrying my cross. So they really were amazing people, and it was nice. It was received nice. I would get a lot of people stop by the room and give me thumbs up or little heart signs and things like that. They're just great people over there.
Jim, I don't mean to be so drastic, but I think based on your story, we're there. Were there times you were laying in that bed thinking this is the end?
There was a unique time where I was afraid that I was afraid for my family. I was afraid for my wife and kids that I maybe would be in big trouble and not see them again. I found out later on, my mother is 91, and I lost my father in January. He was 92, and I found out later on that my mother was saying things like, I'm going to lose my James. So that was upsetting, of course.
But now here we are today. You look awesome. You look healthy. You have a return date to work. I mean,
Yep.
For people who don't get it, for people who you see, out, breaking the social distancing laws, partying, the young kids who can't really still grasp what we're dealing with here, and knowing that you're now on the other side, what do you want to tell people?
Well, I want to tell them that this is a serious thing. On March 11th, I was a normal, healthy 51-year-old man, and very drastically did I almost become a statistic. And I hear these crazy stories of Corona parties and stuff like that, and my thought in the hospital at certain points was, okay, this is part of the job that God gave me. If it's just me that gets it in my family, I can do that. So to ensure that nobody else gets it in my family, which, pretty much has happened. My wife got it a little bit, but my kids, they didn't get it. My wife and I both tested positive for the antibodies, so she had a minor bout of it. I was very concerned about her because she has other medical conditions too. So, that was what I was thinking. And then to see what happens with these people out and about, you do get frustrated by that, because you want to tell them, hey, you're crazy. You don't want to go through this, because it hits every person differently. Some people, it affects them a couple of days. Like me, I was in there for 21 days. There was another retired officer I heard was in there for 60 days and had to go through operations. And, thank God for his recovery. So it is frustrating to see that. Although I do get a kick out of the people that are in the car by themselves with the mask on.
So do I.
I have a little game now. We count it as we drive along. So I've gotten up to 8 in one day. So.
Jim, just a little more background for your story. How many kids do you have, and what are their genders?
I have 2 children. My son is Chase. He's 20 years old. He is presently attending SUNY Utica. And my daughter is going to be 19 next month, and she is just finished up her first year at SUNY Farmingdale. I know what you do, but exactly what is you're a firearms training? Yes, I'm a firearms instructor at the firearms training unit. Part of my responsibilities is I now train all the new firearms instructors. because we have a whole new group of guys that are there.
That's at the academy, Jim?
Actually, we're part of the academy, but we're our separate entity because the academy's in Massapequa Park. Our range is over in Baldwin.
Okay. So you go to Baldwin.
I go to Baldwin, and then I do teach. I used to teach at the academy. Sometimes they throw me over there to do some stuff. So, because I do the. Hold on, I have two puppies that are out of control here. I also do the mental health instructor, and at one point we put together my son's autistic, so we put together first responders and autism many years ago, and I still teach that to all the police officers and recruits.
Is your wife there? Would she
she's here.
Would she kill me if I asked her to just pop on for a sec?
Honey, would you pop on for a second?
I know that's different asking a male and a female to do that.
Yeah, you're not gonna see her. But...
Hi! You can't see me, right? You can't see us? No.
No, I can't.
You'll see me at the end. We just turned our camera off so we have you guys in full view.
Okay.
What is your name?
Mary.
Mary, what does it feel like to have Jim sitting next to you today looking so healthy and amazing after what you went through?
It's amazing because I thought when I called the ambulance, I thought he was going to die. I was very, very upset, and it was heart-wrenching not being able to visit him, just getting in touch by FaceTime, and, you know, trying to keep my wits about me for the kids.
For people who don't get it, for people who haven't experienced COVID on the level that you did, what was that like? You know, obviously you have a loved one who's sick. You can't go be with them. You don't know if maybe you haven't seen them for the last time, you know, other than on a phone, or what's that like for people who haven't experienced that sort of gut-wrenching drama in their life?
Well, if I was to say about this virus, it's a horrible thing, and you know, you never know what's going to happen, and every day is a blessing that you're given, and you never know. So we still social distance. We still wear our masks, even though both of us have antibodies, and you know, we don't want anybody to catch it. We've gone through the rigmarole, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And yeah, I had it too. I only had it for like 2 days, but I had no idea that this was going to be so bad for him. You know, because I always joke around, you know, men, they, you know, get a little headache, and, you know, so that's what I thought it was. And then, you know, he just kept getting worse every day. And then when I had to call the ambulance, and I immediately called my best friend, and I said that, you know, I think this is the last time I ever saw him. And, you know, she talked me through it, and, you know, but people don't understand. There are a lot of people, I mean, we even watch people, they're like, the people all gathered yesterday in our neighborhood, and they're not social distancing, they're in the pool together, they're not immediate family, and it kind of gets to me, and I want to say something, but I'm not allowed to.
I tell her no.